Going live and now.
Hi everybody, welcome along to another episode of the Bet and Bankers live streaming Bettalon. So today we're focusing on Serie B action. There's a full schedule of Serie B action. Anybody who's been following us over the last couple of weeks will know that we love to bet on the Serie B. A lot of goal action backed up by the stats. So that's the main focus of our bet today. But we'll also be keeping an eye on Fulham versus Cardiff in the Championship playoff leg one. It's about 15 minutes into that game, still 0-0, but it's been quite open. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of the bets that we have down, and then we can get into some general conversation. So first bet, again, it's heavily goals based, or these are all heavily goals based. So it's a over 2.5, over 1.5, and both teams to score mix. So over 1.5 goals in the Juve Stabia Cremonese game, and over 1.5 goals in the Crotone Frosinone game. That's combined with over 2.5 in these games. So it's Benevento versus Chievo, Cittadella versus Venezia, Empoli versus Cosenza, and Pordenone versus Salernitana. And then there's both teams to score, which is Perugia versus Trapani and Pisa versus Ascoli. A £5 stake on that pays £355. So it sounds like you need a lot. And the first time I backed on Serie B, I thought I was being mugged putting the bet on. But if you go back through the stats, you'll see that the percentage for clean sheets and the scoring rates of teams. So the clean sheet percentage is very low, the scoring rate is very high. Obviously, that leads to a lot of goals in the games. The next bet is a over 1.5 goals in a game accumulator. So we have got Cardiff and Fulham as the first leg of that. And then it goes into Serie B. So it's the Benevento game, Cittadella game, Crotone, Empoli, Juve Stabia, Perugia, Pordenone, Pisa, and Spezia. So we're basically trying to go through the card in Serie B with over 1.5 and adding in the Cardiff Fulham game for a little kicker. We have a fiver on that. It's 19 to 1, so it pays £100. Cardiff probably should have scored a couple of minutes ago in the Fulham game. That would have set us up nicely. But I said only 17 minutes gone in that game, so still plenty of time. The next is a both teams to score accumulator. So again, on the goals trend, this is the Benevento game, the Cittadella game, Empoli game, Pisa game, and the Spezia game. So that a £10 stake on that pays £287. And then the last one is a very, very juicy bet. So anybody who was with us yesterday will know for the last day of the Premier League season, we tried to turn £5 into 10 grand. This bet is, as I said, very adventurous, but it's trying to turn £5 into 5 grand. So there's a couple of over 2.5s and then a couple of over 3.5s. So the over 2.5s are Crotone game, Empoli game, and Perugia game. And then we've got 4 over 3.5s, which are Pordenone, Juve Stabia, Cittadella, and Benevento. So they're the 4 bets that we have down. I think Liam may have a couple more, but they're really my bets for the evening. So that's kind of where we are at the minute. Games are just kicking off, so let's pray for a couple of early goals. Dave, I know you were saying you didn't get a chance to really look through.
I just copied your over 1.5 goals bet, which seems like the safe option, even though we're still looking at 18 goals for it. But when you were calling out, have you every one of the Serie B? So there's 9 Serie B games, and then you've the Cardiff Fulham game included.
Yeah, every game, and then Cardiff Fulham as well. Yeah, so that's 19 to 1.
Is there any game in particular that you're a bit unsure about, or if there was one leg you might expect to be the disappointment? Does anything jump out?
Obviously, in the over 3.5s, they are they're really punts, like as we've seen the last couple of weeks, there has been games that have been 0-0 for 70, 80 minutes, and there's been other games where there's been goals going in left, right, and centre. So the one that I'd be probably most worried about would be the Juve Stabia and Cremonese game. So Juve Stabia, they average 1.6 goals a game at home. Cremonese, they average one goal away from home. The only thing about that is Cremonese only score in about half of their away games. So when they score one, they score a lot of goals, but or when they usually get two to bring their average up, but they're only really scoring in 50% of their games. So I think they might be a team that could let us down. As I'm speaking here, Cosenza have just gone 1-0 up against Empoli.
First goal in.
That's a decent
4 minutes.
start. Yeah, 4 minutes in, a decent start. Then I believe I have Perugia and Trapani in a both teams to score. Let's make sure that I'm reading that right. So I have Perugia and Trapani in the both teams to score. Aka, and I'm a little bit worried about that match, to be honest. So I think Perugia will score. It's nearly a given that Perugia will score, considering Trapani has conceded in all of their away games so far this season. And as I say that, Perugia have just scored against Trapani. Oh no, sorry, Trapani have scored against Perugia. So that's actually looking better for me now. So Trapani have gone 1-0 up in that game. And that was one I was quite worried about, because as I said, they've only scored in 60% of their away games this season, and that's a little low compared to, if you look at the likes of Frosinone, Venezia, they're up around the 80% mark. So I was worried about Trapani being down at around 66, 67% of the games.
Is that gone good, or has that been?
No, it's been disallowed. I think it's gone.
Oh, really?
It's gone off my bet. My cash out. It's been removed.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe so.
While we're waiting on that, my bet is up on the screen, so it's quite adventurous. You can see it's in the sort of 1100 to 1 mark, because what I've added in a couple of results. So obviously the goals, your logic for the goals is pretty good, and I've the same approach myself. But a few of the teams in there, Cremonese, Venezia, and Crotone, the three of those, they're not too high up the table, but they've, especially Venezia, I think they're in the relegation playoff zone, but they've won 4 and drawn one of their last 5 games, and they're playing Cittadella, who are comfortably in the promotion playoffs, who've lost 5 in a row. So they haven't really come back from the lockdown at all, and they, Venezia are playing for their future. Otherwise, they're going down to Serie C. So I just think that form and what's on the line. I mean, the over 2.5 was about evens. And I just think that to add in the Venezia win to that, I mean, it's obviously a long shot, but it brings it up to 9-2. So I mean, that's a huge price. It's kind of the same logic for Crotone and Frosinone. I mean, again, Frosinone are much further up the table, but Crotone are in better form and have more to play for. And it's exactly the same logic then with Cremonese as well. Juve Stabia are not doing particularly well, and just a 2-1 price, nearly at 15-8 for the win, was just too high to pass up on. I didn't add goals to that one for the same reason that Gary had picked out earlier. That was the match that was possibly a banana skin in terms of goals. So I said, I mean, for a slightly conservative approach to 1,000 to 1 shot, I said I'd just take the goals out of that one.
Just on the Venezia. So if you are looking for stats to back you up there, they do average a goal a game, and they have scored in 78% of their games, their away games this season. So that they're fairly good stats for them. My only concern would be, I don't know whether they will get one. Will they be able to get 2 and win 2-1 for you? That would be the worry. But
it's a long shot, and I mean
there's juice in the price to back that up. So
I know it's a kind of a silly thing to do, but maybe I got excited. I added in. The over 1.5s. Then the Spezia game, the Benevento, and the Empoli games. I had looked at those as over 2.5s as well, but I just thought if I had all those in, I think it was about 4,000 to 1. I just thought maybe that's playing a little bit too optimistic, so I just toned those ones down slightly. They were the ones I was less sure about. So this is the one we have here.
Yeah, like individually, it all looks pretty reasonable anyway, right? Like
yeah. I mean, I always feel that though.
Yeah, I know it's a common feeling, but still, it's a good, confident way to start off.
Yeah.
So Benevento and Chievo have just gone suspended there. Chievo have gone 1-0 up. So hopefully that goal sticks.
So
yeah, it's looking like Chievo were up 1-0 there, yeah.
Yeah.
Goals are in the games that I've gone over 1.5 in as well, which is, of course, absolutely typical.
Benevento games seem to have had an awful lot of goals lately, right?
Yeah, but I think they've scored themselves. They've scored 60-odd goals in 30 games. Like, they scored 2 a game themselves. So,
right.
Yeah, so the Benevento home average is 2.17 goals a game.
Juve Stabia have gone down 1-0 there as well, I think.
Cremonese have scored.
That's great news. That's great news.
Yeah, but that's it. That's that's my 2-1 here at Cremonese. Like, it just made no sense. They'll probably lose 5-1 because I backed Verona last night and they went 1-0 up and went on to lose 5-1. But the price on Cremonese just made no sense there at 2-1. So happy with that early goal.
Cremonese's first goal in their last 3 games. So the last 2 games they've played, they haven't scored. I think both of them have been 0-0 if I'm remembering correctly. So for them to get a goal in early is really good. And Juve Stabia do have a good record at scoring at home as well. So fingers crossed they can keep that. On the Benevento, as you were saying, they've had 5 goals in their last game, 4 goals in the game previous to that, and then Chievo, who they're playing, had 5 goals in their game against Cittadella last week and 5 goals against Juve Stabia.
A second goal in the Empoli game, by the way. So
Consenza.
It's already up on my screen as a waiting result, so that's in.
Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, they're if there's no goals in Benevento versus Chievo, we might as well give up with statistical analysis, because they're averaging probably 4.7 goals in their last 2 games each. So it'll be a shock to the system if it ends 0-0.
So how come you went conservative on that one, Eddie, and stuff? They just over 1.5.
I'm not sure at this point. I can't say. I just think it just looked at. I had put in a lot of 2.5s, and then, like I said, the odds were, it was about 4,000 to 1, and I just thought I'm going to tone this down a bit.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, now that you've just explained why there's going to be loads of goals, I can't exactly stand up.
And the fact that it's already 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone 1-0 to
Chievo, after a few minutes.
Yeah.
Crotone have looked like they're off to a decent enough start as well. Just looking at the stats, they've had all the attacks, a couple of corners, 3 shots with 1 on target.
It's mad that all the goals are coming to the away teams.
Kind of good though.
It is good, yeah. It's good, especially for the action they have with both teams to score. Yeah, getting those away goals in early can be crucial. So
for any overs, obviously it opens up a game when the team going down 1-0 has to start actually going for it.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like happy enough with that start. Would like a few more goals, but that's just being greedy, I think. So
you'd mentioned there that Cremonese hadn't scored in their last 2. So that was 3 consecutive wins, and actually 4 consecutive wins, and then 2 0-0 draws. So it's not the worst bit of form there, again, especially for a team that are that kind of price. So I know the 2 0-0s, that would be the worry, but they've scored so early that you can kind of forget about that now as well. The monkey's off their back.
Are either of you watching the Cardiff game?
No, I haven't had a chance.
I have it on here. First 15 minutes were fairly lively. And in my head, I'd kind of chalked it up to being, the over 1.5 being in already because it was so lively. But the last kind of 5-10 minutes, it's slowed down. And as you speak here, Fulham are passing it around their back 4. No notion of going forward. So hopefully they change that.
It's a tough one to call, isn't it, between those two? I mean, who'll go through overall, like?
Yeah, so Brentford losing last night, I think that gives the big carrot to Fulham now. Fulham will be the favourites for promotion at the minute. they're by far the best footballing team. But I wouldn't I don't know how good they're going to be in a battle. So if it goes to a battle here, I think Cardiff will win it. But I said in terms of football and ability, Fulham should be miles ahead. And I'd fancy Fulham.
Did you back anything there other than the goals?
No, because Fulham have kind of been a bogey team for me all season. I think one time I was relying on them and they came through for me, but there's a couple of times where I've looked at them and thought they were a brilliant price, and they've let me down, especially away from home. So I stayed away from anything apart from goals. I think there has to be goals in this game. Fulham's defence isn't great. I think Crotone have gone 1-0 up against Frosinone.
That's another one of the results that I picked out. So I'm delighted.
That hasn't changed for me. I don't know if you're ahead of me, Gary, or if that's been disallowed as well.
I just have my Betfair feed up here, and I can see
it's come up on mine.
Yeah. It's gone back. We're still 11-5 though in terms of the odds. So did it get disallowed?
Yeah, they often still show the goals.
Yeah, it's got disallowed.
Time graph on Betfair.
Yeah.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, 2 phantom goals in the first 15 minutes isn't good.
But that game there, Crotone, right? They're second in the table. They're unbeaten in 6 with 4 wins in their last 5. Frosinone they won their first game back after the lockdown, and they have failed to win in the next 4, and they're but 4 places below them in the table. And because Frosinone are probably the better known team, and they were in the Serie A last season, they just have been underpriced all this Serie B season, and I think they were 11-10 favourites. Now they'll probably win here today and prove me wrong, but it just seemed odd that the Crotone would be the outsiders at home with the better form, the better league position, So hopefully that phantom goal is followed up soon by some real ones.
We're all over them. I'm looking at Crotone for half-time, full-time, or 5-1. Based on what the stats are showing so far, and the stats you're saying for it, seems like a decent show.
Not to win both halves. Half-time, full-time is 5-1, and they're 11.
Yeah, just half-time, full-time. Yeah.
That seems very strange because
they could just maintain that lead if they're up by half-time.
Yeah.
There's a penalty in the Pordenone Salernitana game. I'm not too sure who it's for. I think it could be for Salernitana.
I've got goals in that one in our big bet, so yeah, just over 2.5.
Yeah, so it's a goal for Pordenone there.
Very good.
So yeah, not too bad of a start in those games. For the over 1.5, I would like to see a goal in Fulham Cardiff in the next 15 minutes just before half time. It's good going into the second half, just waiting on a goal. I don't really want to be waiting on too late on that, especially because it's 15 minutes ahead of the others. So it could be an anticlimax for the last 15 minutes.
Fulham were a team I used to get on for a first half goal quite a bit. They always seem to score or concede in the first half of their matches.
Yeah, the matches to be quite open because
I know playoff games a bit kind of different than maybe the.
No, I this game it had a lull there, but Fulham are actually coming out now and playing a bit. They've had a decent few attacks and taken a few long range shots. So I do agree with you. They're kind of an open team. They'll go on the attack and then they leave themselves wide open at the back. So I wouldn't discount there being a goal just before half time.
When you said that you'd back them for a first half goal, would you back them to score one or just for there to be a goal in their game?
Just for there to be a goal in the first half. Nice. They score plenty, concede plenty. There always seems to be an early goal across the championship games. Like Fulham always just seems to be involved with an early goal.
Yeah,
not looking that likely. I mean, yeah, like you're saying, Gary, it looks like there's been plenty of chances already.
Yeah, and I think you
could have a risky. I mean, it's 9-4 now for.
I think the key will be the first goal, because I don't think Fulham are a team who can sit back and put 10 men behind the ball and try and defend. So if they get it, the game will still be open. If Cardiff get it, obviously Fulham will need an away goal then, so they'll be coming out all guns blazing. So really, the first goal is the key, in my opinion here. So as I said, it'd be good for it to go in just before half time. But any more goals in Serie B? Doesn't look.
I'm just looking through. We've got your bets up, Gary, the ones you mentioned at the start of the show, and I'm looking at some of the odds, like 417 to 500. I've never seen that price before.
Yeah.
So someone has really done his homework that day, 91 to 125.
Just trying to make me work hard on my fractions.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it in the payouts, but yeah, I like those bets, and especially that Pordenone game. Now it's 23 to 10, but you've already got one of those goals up quite early, so that's a nice one. And then your other 3.5, you're still waiting on it, but I mean, at least they're the games that could kind of kill you later on, because if it's 0-0 after an hour, you'll be kind of sweating on them.
Yeah, so it's a mad league though. Like, there's been 5 goals in the first 20 minutes, and you're kind of disappointed with that, Whereas any other league, if the game's had 5 goals, you'd be kind of saying, "Geez, this is an anomaly" or whatever. So
yeah,
hopefully there's more to come.
The one I'm worried about now is Citadel at Venezia. So I've got Venezia on over 2.5, and that's 0-0. So hopefully some Venezia goes there soon.
Yeah, as I said, the stats would back that up. So
the in-play stats for that match are looking pretty crazy as well. Like, Citadel have already had 9 shots, 2 on target in the first 20 minutes. Like,
we were watching them. I think it was 2 Fridays ago. We had a Serie B and Segunda Division accumulators. We were watching some of the games, and it was just end to end. There's no concept of playing it safe. Now, obviously, league positions and stuff come in, but it's just, obviously lower level. It's a lower level than some of the top flight leagues, but the entertainment is just relentless. It's nearly kind of basketball style. There's always a chance, chance after chance.
That's what it's
great for goals.
Looking at the stats now, anyway, yeah.
It is crazy, because myself and Gary are in another WhatsApp group, and we were looking at some of these bets earlier, just discussing it with some of our mates, and Gary ran through the stats of how many goals in the Benevento games, and you're still getting 10 to 11 on over 2.5 goals. They're scoring the same amount of goals as Liverpool were scoring, and you'd get 1 to 3 at the best for a Liverpool game to have those kind of score lines. So it must just be it's not as popular a league, or it's not as they're trying to encourage people onto it or discourage people on the Premier League. I don't know.
It's where the liabilities are, like they want to price up the league to have them there so they get punters betting, but if they're not losing on it every week, then they won't put too much effort into it, that way.
Yeah.
So obviously people haven't clocked onto it, but yeah,
fingers crossed. Trapani went up 1 there.
Yeah, I see that there. So that's another away team in the lead.
Another away one, yeah.
Well, we've got four of the 10 matches, or 4 of the 9 matches have an away leader. So Fulham just had a good chance there as well.
It always feels much better for the goals bet when the away team has gone up.
Definitely, yeah. So what have you got? 1, 2, 3.
I think Harry, you were talking up that Trapani game about being one of the ones you were worried about as well, were you, for goals?
I was, yeah, and I was particularly worried about Trapani in there. So the fact that Trapani have scored, they've conceded in every game this season. So, like, you would expect it to be the both teams to score to be a certainty now. It's not even average in 1 goal conceded. It's just they have 100% or 0% record at keeping a clean sheet. So that
we're showing.
Yeah. Now, could be just my luck for it to be the first game of the season that they do keep a clean sheet, but hopefully not. Fulham are starting to pepper Cardiff's goal now. They had a few decent shots, as I said a couple of minutes ago. They had a good move that turned into a corner, and the Cardiff keepers just made a good save from a corner as well. So that game is livening up. was your thoughts on the last day of the Premier League season yesterday? Anyway, Watford going down, Bournemouth going down, Bournemouth harshly done by with the phantom goal that wasn't given.
I can't remember
Sheffield United.
If you had mentioned that while we were still on air, or if that was something we discussed afterwards, and I didn't really pay much attention to it, but it kind of came back to me last night then, and it's incredibly harsh for that reason for them to go down.
What's that? What happened to them? They should have had a goal in
so one of the recent games. A couple of weeks ago, Aston Villa were playing Sheffield United. I think it was one of the first games back after lockdown, and Sheffield United scored a goal, but the keeper kind of caught the ball as it was crossing the line and carried it into the net with him. Whoever was in control of the referee's watch, or the technology that sends the signal to the referee's watch, never turned on the technology. So the ref was looking at his watch that has never been wrong before and being like, the watch isn't saying it's a goal, so it's not a goal. VAR never intervened. The linesman didn't give anything. So the goal just wasn't given, and it ended up being a 0-0 draw.
And I mean, was it like a few feet behind the line, or was it?
It was clear as day.
It was at least a full ball behind the line. Sorry, just while I'm talking here, Salernitana have equalised, so that's 1-1, and Perugia have got their goal. So Trapani are still 0% at keeping away clean sheets this season.
Minutes after taking the lead.
Yeah. So that's gone from something I was worried about to now. Obviously, the over 1.5 is in. I think I have over 2.5 in that as well. I need to check. Sorry, with so many goals in my bets, it's hard to keep track of which ones I have in there.
3 games with 2 goals already.
Yeah. So actually, I have both teams to score on that. So that leg is up, I believe. Although Betfair are giving it as being 2-0, and Paddy Power are giving it as being 2-0, and Betfair are giving it as being 1-1. So.
365 has it as 1-1.
1-1, yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. That leg is in anyway. So yeah, that's a decent start for that. Both teams to score. There's still a couple of 0-0s in there, but hopefully they can get a move on in those. But sorry, as I was saying, Dave, yeah. So Aston Villa ended up getting a 0-0 draw in that game. And then Bournemouth got relegated by a point yesterday. So
with a better goal difference.
With a better goal difference, yeah. So if Aston Villa had lost the game that they didn't get the goal given against them, they would have been relegated. So
how late into the match did that goal come? Would that goal have come if it was given?
No, it was around half time. I think maybe just before half. Sorry, just before or just after half time. I think it was just before half time. Because it came out then at halftime, the ref or the FA or whatever it said.
Really? That were that quick to admit?
Yeah, it was really quick, but obviously, the game still finished 0-0, and there's talk of there potentially been a lawsuit there because it's not as if it's just the Premier League status. You're talking £50 million.
You know what though? I would always have been against kind of that taking legal action and Slats has met my father, and when he's given out about rugby results and referee bias and things like that, and he's always said, "Oh, why don't you take an action?" But you can't do it when there's any kind of subjectivity. But not turning on the machine that you're meant to turn on, you haven't performed your duties as a league.
And that's it. It's dual as well because you have VAR, and as you said, Liam, it's not as if you're do you know why some of the offsides are looking at and they have the ruler out or the protractor or whatever and do the lines? It's not as if they needed to do that. They just needed to look at the camera and say, yeah, it's over the line because it was a full ball over the line. It wasn't as even if the ball could get in contact, but
Surely there has to be a fallback there if the VAR is looking at that and going, there has to be something wrong with the technology.
Do you know what that reminded me of? I can't remember the exact details, but the 2 bits I remember was that I think it was women's football, and I think it was Northern Ireland in a Euros qualifier, and the referee made that there was no subjectivity. There was the wrong decision made on the pitch, and it was the end of the match, and it was a penalty that should have been retaken, but the ref didn't let them retake it and ended the game. But technically, there was no decision to be made. It should have been retaken, and they had to go back out the next day and take a penalty.
For the penalty.
It was about 4, or it could have been anywhere between 5 and 10 years ago, say. But all 22 women had to go out on the pitch go up to the penalty spot, all stand around this woman, and she just run up and she scored a penalty. They got the result, and it changed who qualified for the women's Euros.
Yeah, now that you say it, it rings a bell. I can't remember the details.
It's not one of those things like, is it a red card or is it not? You could always argue one way or the other, but if it's a black and white, you didn't do what the book says you should do. You should be able to appeal that. It's very harsh to go down to the championship, and people will probably lose their jobs. They won't have the same amount of staff in those stadiums. The amount of people around the club will go down as they go down in the division. So it's
and like that's the thing. A club like Bournemouth, now they have been fairly frugal while they've been in the Premiership, but they're going to struggle. They only get 10,000, 12,000 to their games, so that's all their stadium can hold. It's not as if it's if Aston Villa were going down, they'd still be getting 30,000 people through the door every week.
If Aston Villa went down, you'd give them a good chance of coming up in the next year or two.
Yeah,
but
they're still a big name in a big city, whereas like if Bournemouth lose the players, like they have some really good players there, like your man Ryan Fraser, he's going to be gone on a free. The young lad David Brooks is really good. I'd say he will be on a lot of Premier League teams' shopping lists. Then you've got like Josh King and Callum Wilson, who I think is King Norwegian. And Wilson obviously being English and having the Euros coming up next season, he's not going to want to spend the season in the Championship. So Bournemouth could be decimated by that as well, that way. And then they're not going to attract new players in because, with the greatest respect to them, nobody really wants to live on the south coast in a sleepy little town. They'd rather live in a city like London or Manchester or Birmingham or wherever, So
I think when you say nobody, you mean like young professional footballers in their 20s.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like obviously, I mean, I'd live in Bournemouth in a heartbeat, and like if you're a 34-year-old footballer, you probably go there as well. But if you're like a rising star somewhere, you're not going to go and put your faith in a club that number one are getting 12,000 people through the gate, and aren't going to. Fulham nearly scored there, Tom Kearney. But yeah, I think it's harsh on Bournemouth. So if I was their chairman, I'd definitely be looking at legal action because it could decimate the club. I hope it doesn't, because I actually do have a soft spot for them. So,
what compensation? You just think financial compensation that they'll pump back into the club and try and get back up, or?
Yeah, like I don't think they can do anything about. Like
they can't replay the whole half of the game or that.
Exactly. You could have done it at the time, maybe, but at this point, it's not a hope.
And if it was yesterday's game, you could have an argument and say, well, the game just happened yesterday. It didn't impact anything. But the fact that it was like 5 games ago, who's to say that Aston Villa wouldn't have been more motivated in a game and got points, and it just gets messy. But they should definitely be going for, as you said, some financial package.
But the only thing about that is, and we've seen it, can't remember the details, but it was the Saints were involved in the NFL last year. There was some, blatantly wrong calls being made, and there's really nothing. Once the game is over, if you don't make, once the league moves on at all, you can't go back and change something, because it just sets an unbelievably bad precedent for any sports. So, but I do think that there could be money.
Oh, where would they end it then? Yeah, exactly.
3-0 Cosenza, by the way.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. So that's the over 2.5 that I had in.
You don't have them as an over 3.5, Gary, no?
No, I have them in the over 3.5 bet.
But as an over 2.5.
As an over 2.5, yeah.
My over 1.5 walked in nice and early. Naively. So, yeah. It's good. We said this last week with the Serie B. There's always, it's probably about 30 odd goals a weekend, but there's always a couple of the games really, really romping, and then a couple of kind of laggards. It's never kind of all of them over 2.5. It's always some over 5.5s and then 1 or 2 nil-nils. So hopefully we got the combinations right.
Yeah, looking at it here. So in the big bet, so the 5 to 5.5 grand, just 2 nil-nils, which are really killing me. So one of them is an over 3.5 and one of them is an over 2.5. So I could do with a goal or two in those games before half time.
Which is the over 3.5, Gary, over those?
Citadella Venezia, yeah. And then Crotone is the other one that's 0-0. But then I have one leg in, so that's Empoli and Cosenza is in. I've one leg goal away, that's Perugia and Trapani. And Pordenone game, I need 2 more goals in that. So it's not 35 minutes gone. It's not the end of the world, but there's a little bit to do on it.
Maybe you'd hope for a slightly different distribution of the goals, is all.
Exactly, yeah. But I said I'm not giving up on it just yet. My cash out at the minute is £2 from a £5, so obviously, like Paddy Power, still think that I have somewhat of a chance. It's not total dead at the minute. So yeah, hopefully, said a few goals changes that aspect and that outlook really.
Yeah.
Citadella are 4-1 to be leading at half time, and they're absolutely dominating the stats.
Perugia Trapani there's 3 goals in that now, I think, as well, is there?
I still see 1-1 to me. Yeah.
Jeez, have you ever used the Paddy Power Onside app?
I have, but only kind of like late. If I put a bet on in the shop and say it was, kind of like a Saturday, Sunday spread out over a while, I might cash out, but never really to monitor in play like this.
Yeah, it seems to be giving incorrect information in play. So I'm onto Betfair here, who seem to be the best at in play. But yeah, it's strange that we're showing it up as 3-0 for Trapani, which is obviously way off.
The one you mentioned earlier, where it was gone 1-1, and you said it looked like it was 2-0. That sounds like somebody in the office had said that there was a goal in the Trapani game, and he just put it in as Trapani instead of Perugia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was checking something there. The Crotone.
Just while
Cardiff game is 0-0 half time, is it?
It's 0-0 half time, yeah. Fulham nearly scored right on 45th minute. So Tom Kearney had the ball about 25 yards out, tried to place it in the corner, and it just skimmed the outside of the post. I thought it was in. So you've probably seen a little jump of me. But yeah, unfortunately it's not. So that's obviously a drag, but there's still time for that to come in. So yeah, but still 0-0. Just while I'm talking, while it's in my head for Paddy Power. So anybody that's looking or watching us online, paddypower.com, you'll see a top banner at the horse racing saying fancy a free £5 bet in the 2.15 at Goodwood. So you just hit claim now. They give you that free £5 bet, and you can put it on any horse you want in that race at Goodwood, so the 2.15. So if you have a Paddy Power account, make sure to utilise that. It's not often that bookmakers give away free money.
Paddy Power have been quite good at that recently, actually.
They have, yeah.
I don't have an account with them, so it's kind of annoying for me that everyone is texting about it, but I don't have it.
Yeah, it's definitely the 5th or 6th one that I've gotten off them. Now, every time I get it, I always stick it on an outside. There's a couple of football ones where you just go in and put a request to bet on that's like 10,000 to 1 because you're like, well, it's not my money. But if you use them sensibly, you could probably build yourself up a nice little pot,
Yeah. And the 25 to 1 William Hill special that we mentioned yesterday actually was a nice one as well for people. There's hopefully a few people sitting there with their £5 free bets.
Yeah, I didn't get on that one myself now, but
so I also didn't.
Is that one only for new accounts? That'll be.
Do you know what? I'm not sure. I saw the ad and it said with a promo code, so I'm not sure if that promo code means that anyone can do it or if it's just.
No, I think it was new accounts only.
Yeah, I think once they have you with an account, they generally don't really send too many offers your way.
But that's the good thing about Paddy Power there. Like, it's for everyone. Do you know that way? It's
that is good.
Accounts, everybody has accounts. So, because I hadn't used my Paddy Power in quite some time. It's actually probably worked out well for them because they've like hooked me back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't used it in quite some time, and then a few friends send it on, and even though it's only a private stake, it's better me having a bet with it than it being missed out. So
Frosinone are, in the Frosinone game, Crotone are playing pretty well. They're defending very, very solidly at kind of keeping Frosinone at bay. A decent shot there. It ended up kind of rising as it went in. It went a bit over the bar in the end, but it was a decent effort. They're looking good.
So there's still 4-0 in Serie B. We could do with a couple of goals in those games.
We had it last week though. This lull before half time, and then there was about maybe it was a week before about 5 or 6 goals within the first couple of minutes after the restart. So I'm still optimistic as ever.
Yeah, no, like as I said, it's like none of the bets are dead, and I suppose that's the great thing about goals. You're never dead. I think we were discussing before we came live, Liam. You probably would have thought in West Ham versus Villa yesterday that if you had an over 2.5 or over 1.5, your bet was gone, and there's 2 goals in a minute. Same in the Man United game, like 60 minutes in, it's 0-0. You probably wrote it off, and then it ends up being 2-0 to United. So. I definitely wouldn't be ruling them out, but I'd feel a lot more comfortable if we were seeing a few more goals go in, especially in the Cittadella Venezia game, which obviously I need 4 goals in. The 1.5s you're not too worried about.
Yeah. The West Ham game was mad how quick those goals came after each other. And then it had been threatening goals for a while, in fairness, so it wasn't a surprise to see them. Just a surprise that they came like that.
Yeah, so obviously we have just for anybody watching, like we have day jobs, so we won't be able to live stream tomorrow for the horse racing, but there is brilliant card tomorrow at Goodwood and Galway. So whenever there's a lull in the second half, we'll talk you through some of the fancies that we have tomorrow and some of the horses that could be talking points. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in horse racing. There's also the Galway Festival, which is a little bit harder to predict. The racing isn't as good a quality, but racing is racing. So
yeah,
you can still have a bet on it.
Crotone have resorted now to some fairly wild kind of shots, and it's disappointing to see, really, because their early pressure. You like to see a team when they've had that domination, just keep the patience. I think like Manchester City are probably the best at it. I hope they recover their concentration at halftime, because I think it's good to get a goal in this game early in the second half.
Yeah.
Crotone game, LB, is it?
Say that again?
That's the Crotone game?
Yeah, Crotone Frosinone, yeah.
Yeah, they had plenty of shots there for a while, but they seem to kind of go off the boil a bit.
Yeah, which is actually strange that they're putting such an effort into this Crotone, because they are kind of... I don't think their position is going to change. It actually can't change. So they really are putting the effort in here. So...
It's good to see, though. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
A few of these nil-alls having a goal now before half time.
Do you know what though? I'm gonna back maybe over 1.5 in all the nil-alls at half time, because maybe not. I might leave the Crotone game out of it, but I think Cittadella Venezia. I think the game's maybe the 1-0's back another goal and the 0-0's back 2 goals or something like that, because there's always a big second half in this division, especially.
I would probably back Crotone to win if, or even I might get you to put. I haven't got access to my account at the minute, but I might get you to put that bet on and do a few win bets, because again, looking at the stats, so at home, Crotone are averaging 1.78 goals per game, and Frosinone only average 0.68 goals a game away from home. So if Frosinone haven't scored by now, are kind of unlikely. That's a trend with them, that they don't score in their away games as often as they score in their home games.
My only hesitation, personally, I'll definitely place that for you. My only hesitation, personally, is I'm already invested in the Crotone.
In on them too heavy.
Yeah, that's definitely my weak spot in my staking and gambling strategies. Is that I think I mentioned this yesterday. I'll find that I thought Everton were overpriced yesterday, and they weren't at all by the way the scoreline went. And then I look down at half time and I've got them in 4 of my 5 bets and they're losing. They're just like, right, I've got to be a little bit more,
spread
hedge my bets. I suppose that's where that phrase comes from, So I think I won't double up myself from Crotone, but they do look a good price. Now they're outside 2-1 already, which I think
if you double them up with Citadella, you're getting nearly 6-1 for both to win, and the two of them have just been massively on top in the first half.
I had back Venezia, so
I know that can change. Like
the Juve Stabia game has gone suspended here, so hopefully.
Yeah, I think there's a yellow card after being given, so I'm hoping that there's going to be a penalty as well. I haven't been watching it now, but I just saw a yellow card flash up.
We watched this live, and maybe it was a bad tackle or something. It doesn't look. Oh, it's a penalty. Yep, it is. So, no, it's not a penalty.
No,
it's just outside the box. Sorry, the box was empty, so it looked like it was going to be a penalty, but the wall is on the edge of the box. This is just goals, right? We don't have any. Oh no, I have Cremonese, right? So yeah, hopefully this is not going to go in.
Oh, this is Juve Stabia with the free kick, is it?
Yeah. Although maybe for the overs, it's not too bad. My long shot bet is needs a lot of goals in the second half. The ref is making a production of drawing his white line on the pitch. I'd say it's only. I wouldn't be surprised if it was less than 7 yards away from the ball.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. If it stays like this at half time, I think the treble that I'll get you to put on, Liam, is Benevento.
Goal. Oh no, no. They put it in the net, but they'd fouled the keeper and look to have actually knocked him seriously out. In the meantime,
it's still showing up on Betfair as a goal given.
Yeah, it came up as 1-0 on Bet365, but it's still suspended, obviously.
The referee is trying to pull the goalkeeper's tongue out of his mouth. He's completely unconscious. It's actually pretty unsightly. He just got absolutely smacked in the head.
So Pisa Ascoli has gone suspended there. Not to diminish the goalkeeper being injured and nearly swallow his tongue, but
yeah, that was.
You got to keep the updates. So it's a goal for Pisa.
This was actually just the strangest kind of display of emotions. They celebrated the goal, then they were angry that it was disallowed, and then they all had to run over and try and help the keeper. They kind of gave up on their complaints pretty quickly. So that goal it's been removed from the.
Yeah, it has been removed.
Yeah, it's gone,
straight red card for Juve Stabia player as well.
It's good for your win bet, but not necessarily good for your goals bet.
Yeah, and now he's running off to somebody. This game there's all sorts of stuff going on here. Manager being sent off now as well. Unless he must have said something there. This game is going to be interesting to see what the situation is after halftime. Thankfully, that keeper's back up and about though. So
they don't have any of the the head injury protocol in football. The way they have it in the rugby.
I don't.
Questions like.
I don't think so.
They have some Yeah, they do have a protocol, but it's not as robust as the rugby one.
I mean, this guy was. This guy was unconscious like 90 seconds ago, and now he's just taking a kick out or a free kick. Like there was nothing.
Be good for you.
No. Yeah, just we talked last Friday, Gary, about a trip to the Serie B, and there's a few kind of great teams you'd like to see there. This Juve Stabia Stadium, it's one of those real old school. You kind of certainly in my book they'd be kind of Eastern European style stadiums where there's all the blocks of apartments are built around the stadium. So there's those people sitting out on their balconies watching the match. So that would be an experience, no doubt.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, rent one of them as an Airbnb or something.
Yeah.
Geez, I wonder, do they do that? They'd make some coin off renting that out every week.
I know. You make sure their Wi-Fi is good and you'd be there betting away.
Yeah. Make sure you're not too close to the ultras in case you cheer against their team and their.
Yeah. I had a bet on it.
You'd be just cheering goals, cheering both teams to score.
Trying to translate your bet slip into Italian so you can show them that.
Yeah.
So sorry, while just before that kind of action happened there in the Juve Stabia game, I said I have a fairly bold bet that I'm going to ask you to do for me, Liam, if that's all right. So
nothing like a bold bet. Big fan.
Citadella.
Yeah, I like that. Well,
at home.
Based on Slats's stat analysis there.
Crotone at home.
I like Crotone, yeah.
And then this is the one where it gets extreme, but Benevento are 12-1 to turn it around against Chievo. They score a lot at home. They've had kind of 8 or 9 shots in the first half.
I think they dominated the shots, dominated possession and attacks.
So a tenner on that pays, I think, about 950 quid.
That's interesting that they're that price. I mean, they're top of the table. You know, I mean, they're 1-0 down, but they're still like they've scored 63 goals in their 36 games. You know, so the 2 goals here today would not.
I think it's worth a punt. You know.
Yeah, I like that.
So the Fulham game has started back now. Just 2 minutes into the second half, Fulham are on the attack. So,
but do you want that now, or is that a half-time by the?
So the games are all gone. The games are all gone half-time.
Or are they gone?
They're all half-time now in Serie B.
All right. So I was still watching the other game, and I didn't realize it.
That Pisa game was the last one to go, I think, because it had that late goal.
Yeah.
So it's just Fulham of interest at the minute. So while it's about a half time, Spezia and Entela have gone suspended. I wonder where that is a half time.
Well, we talked about that. I remember because the Waterford games as well. If they don't have the companies that supply the kind of in stadium updates to the information accumulator and providers, if they don't have someone at the stadium, they'll have all sorts of strange suspensions going on. So I've seen that before in other games. So it might not be, somebody's doing his 2 jobs at the same time or something. Hopefully it comes back. Does anything take your fancy for halftime, Slats?
Well, I was looking at just the double of Citadella and Crotone, but it seems it's a measly 6-1 compared to Gary's 90-1 to throw Benevento in there. So I think I'll get a bit of that action, definitely.
I think the way we've gone big every time so far, and we'd have been as well off going home. Yeah, once you hear a price like that, like it's a 12-1, and someone can back it up, it's very hard to not do it.
Yeah, especially given the way the stats have gone in the first half. Like, fair enough, they're down 1-0, but they've dominated in every aspect of it, really, with possession, attacks, shots on and off target.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was still 0-0, you'd happily back them -1 based on those stats. That sort of way.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually.
It seems high. Like, I mean, imagine if they got an early goal now in the second half. It's all to play for again. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just concentrating on the Fulham game here, guys. It's a pity. Mitrovic is, I think he's injured for today's game. So that's probably why Fulham have been toothless up until now. Fulham scored. They just scored. Brilliant goal.
I was just about to say Cardiff are drifting towards a backable price here. Thankfully not.
Yeah, so I can't really see, but it was an unbelievable goal. So Fulham were basically playing around with the ball. They had possession for ages. The ball went out to the left wing, got crossed into the box. Cardiff thought they'd cleared it. And the Fulham player picks it up on the edge of the 18-yard box. He beats 3 players just weaving in and out of them, and then the keeper sliding out his feet, and he just dinks it over them. So,
Anoma,
really good goal.
It was the scored.
Yeah, I think it was Anoma. Yeah, I can't see because he ran and all the players jumped on top of him, so I couldn't see who it was. Anoma. So yeah, good goal.
Do the away goals count in those playoffs?
They do, yeah. I'm fairly sure. I'll be 90% sure that they do.
Yeah.
So that's not bad now. So I've got 3 of the over 1.5s in the bag. I've got 3 nils, and then the rest have 1 in there. So if those 0-0 games can get early goals in the second half, that 19-1
across all the
looking
bets,
good.
really what we're looking for are Benevento and Crotone. Those two can score early, and then the 0-0s.
Cittadella and Crotone.
Yeah, and Benevento.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Benevento as well.
Yeah.
That's it. Like it's good that the bets are still live. 45 minutes to go, so happy with that. Any bets on the horses tomorrow, guys? Anybody had a look?
I actually haven't had a look yet, but no doubt there'll be a few placed tomorrow, or a few bets placed. I'm not sure if the horses are going to place, but yeah. What do you have picked out? You'd mentioned earlier your eye on a couple.
Yeah, so one that sticks out at a very big price, probably just to start off with. Now it's a Group 2, and there's Aidan O'Brien has sent over a horse, Battleground, who won well at Royal Ascot, so he's going to be hard to beat. He's 11-8 as the favourite.
Where's this, Gary?
In Goodwood, Glorious Goodwood. So this is the 2:15 race, the one we actually get a £5 free bet with Paddy Power. So I think if you're having that £5 free bet, especially, Thunder of Niagara is an outsider, so he's 22-1. Won on debut, finished sixth in a race at Royal Ascot, but he was going quite well and then kind of emptied towards the end. I think that he could run better than his price suggests. Mark Johnson is his trainer. He has an unbelievable record at Goodwood. I think it stands out that Mark Johnson is only running 1 in the race. I said he mightn't win it, but I can see him being in the top 3. So in each way bet if you're putting your own money on it. But if you're looking to have a shot at the Paddy Power free £5 bet, I said you could easily turn it into 110 quid by backing him. Then William Buick has a couple of good rides. The one that I really fancy is Space Blues in the 245. He's 9-4 favourite, but I think that's fairly justified. And there's a couple in there that are dangerous to him, but Space Blues won well in France the last day, so I'd be surprised if he gets beaten. And then one other one at a really big price. It's a little bit of kind of heart over my mind, but I'm probably going to back Hatea in the first, so the 110. She's 20-1. I backed her the last day and she underperformed, but she had a defibrillating heartbeat after that and didn't break from the stalls correctly first off, and then was found to have that defibrillating heart afterwards.
What was the cause of that at the time, or is that the sort of thing they might give any more detail on, or you just hope that
no, like just sometimes the horses get over like kind of overexcited, and that can show. So Joe, it's nothing to be worried about once it goes away. There's been certain horses in the past, like Sprinter Sacker was one of them that had to have a season off because of defibrillating heart, but sometimes it can just come and go. So she's back down to a winning mark. She has Kieran Fallon on board, taking off £3. Again, 20-1. She might not win it, but I think I'll have a bet off.
22-1 here with Ladbrokes, actually. So
okay. So yeah, maybe shop around in the morning and see. But there, I said, a couple stand out at big prices. The other races I haven't gone through in depth, but I think it could be a day to stick with William Buick. He has a couple of good rides. A couple of them are tough races, but another one that stood out was Yuri Gagarin in the 145. Though it's a very tough race. There's been a couple gambled on there, like one of them, Dave O'Mara, is in good form. One of his horses into 7s from 12. So it's a hot enough race, but I said William Buick's ride there sticks out at me as well. So I'll be having a few combinations, small stakes, at big enough odds.
Those three you mentioned there, 22, 22, and 10 to 1. That's got Trixie written all over it, really.
Yeah, like I said, you want to be backing them each way and looking for firms that are paying kind of enhanced places. But I said I think the three of them will give you a run for your money anyway. Obviously,
you look to do the place part on these horses.
I might have a small play spot tomorrow. I think as the week goes on, the play spot becomes a better bet. I don't know whether it'll
Why is that? More people getting involved, like a bigger pot, or just
bigger fields would kind of be the way I'm thinking. More big field handicaps, because they're where you can get the faves really turned over. Whereas there's faves tomorrow where I'm taking them on because I don't want to be backing them at small prices, but I also can't make a justification for them being outside the top 3. So my reasoning would be kind of the bigger fields, and it might be easier to land a big pot.
Upset the favourite and get a big dividend payout.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, it should be a good day's action. It's actually going to be interesting on Saturday.
It is, so.
Yeah, on Saturday they're allowing fans back in there, so they've 5,000 fans allowed in. Now at Glorious Goodwood, any other year you'd probably have 40,000. It's a big summer festival over here in England where they'd have people out having picnics and drinking and things like that. So it's going to be a lot less than normal, but it's good to see a little bit of normality coming back with the fans being there. I think you had to be a member to get tickets, so that's why I'm not going.
I was going to ask, what the criteria was for those 5,000, because you think they'd be getting snapped up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think you had to be a Goodwood member, because obviously this is their big meeting, but they have a couple of meetings through the year, and the members will go to all of them, kind of like football teams and season ticket holders, So
yeah, that's the priority.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it makes sense,
So myself and Liam have a share in a horse who's running on Saturday. So, he's entered to run on Saturday. We won't give away the details just yet. So you'll have to tune into our League of Ireland special on Friday to hear whether he's definitely going to run and whether we think he has any chance or not. Probably doesn't have a chance based on his previous form. But anybody who's watching and wants to find that out, we'll be here kind of from 7:30 onwards on Friday, so make sure to tune in.
It's a shame about the lockdown and everything, otherwise that would be a nice race to go to if it's going to be on.
Yeah. It's one of the race courses at Chepstow. It's one of the race courses I haven't been to. So as you said,
surely as owners you get to go along now.
So we're in a syndicate and 2 of the owners can go. So I think we could probably get the tickets, because
there doesn't seem to be huge demand at this moment for the tickets, but I think we'll have to see. It's a bit of a journey for people who considering the situation that everybody's in.
Chepstow is 190 kilometres from my house, so it's a long way to drive if your horse is going to finish last, like you did last day. So I'll make a decision Friday evening. Oh, Fulham nearly went 2-0 up.
Crotone have
games starting to kick off there again.
Yeah, Crotone are absolutely after racing out of the blocks here, and
that's what I want to hear.
Oh, nearly. It was a good cross, but it ended up going straight to the keeper.
Oh God, that was so close. So, Fulham had a good attack there. The ball was kind of sent long. The striker headed it down, and the midfielder was coming on, kind of caught it on the half volley. So it was always rising, but it had an unbelievable amount of pace on it, and probably went over by about, I'd say, maybe half a foot. But if it had hit the net, it would have looked spectacular because there was so much pace on the ball, and to catch it on the half volley was great technique by him as well.
that Frosinone or that Crotone chance in the Frosinone game should absolutely have been a goal. It was a great ball into the box, and the forward just kind of half threw his foot at it. Didn't connect with it at all. It's actually, we should be 1-0 up here already. But this second half looks kind of exactly what we wanted. Like Frosinone obviously, or Crotone obviously had a speaking to at half time, because they're a lot more focused than they were at the end of the first half.
We've moved the market in the Benevento game anyway. It's gone from 12s into 8s, so they're obviously running scared of our big bet.
Benevento must have come back out flying as well, based on
it's only 20 seconds in, so they'd have to have something special.
Yeah. But like you said, like looking at their record and their position in the table, the amount of goals they scored, the amount of goals they scored at home, 12-1 is a ludicrous price, really. I'm going to watch this one now for a moment.
Yeah, I said like an early goal in the second half, and all of a sudden they're down to 6-4, so
yeah,
be nice.
You can actually see it though with Benevento. Their time in the Serie A did them well. Like, their movement is just so much more advanced than the players teams they come up against. I mean,
I actually saw that they were after a striker from the Premiership. Daniel Sturridge or something like that. Somebody who it flashed up on my one of my kind of social media feeds during the week, and I meant to look at it in more detail, but I'm fairly sure it was.
But you look at the players who've, and I'm not to disrespect any of them because their careers weren't exactly over, but kind of rejuvenated their careers by going to the Serie A from the UK, especially players who will be under you get a lot of negative attention. Lukaku, Alexis Sanchez, Cole, a bit before that, Ashley Cole, Ashley Young, Jorginho was another one. Like, they've all kind of, without being bad players, have gotten a bit of bad press in the UK, especially at the end of their times. And then they went to the Serie A. They kind of, nobody really pays them any attention. They're able to kind of get their head down. And they've all had, kind of re-blossomings in their careers there. So they'll be, go to places like Benevento, they'll be just back up. The last time they came up to the Serie A, they went straight back down. So there'll be no pressure on a player to go there. And could be a good
Premiership must be a nightmare for players that don't like that kind of off-field attention, or the kind of media circus.
I don't know what it's. Some of the American sports I can't say because I'm not as close to their media, but it's probably just like Barcelona, Real Madrid, and then the Premier League teams. Just very few athletes get that level of attention. So if you're not ready for it, it must be tough.
I know the All Blacks rugby team say that they get the same around New Zealand. They kind of like come up to Europe where they're not as recognisable. They can,
I'm just going to step away for a minute, so I'll be back in 2 minutes. Just need to get a drink here.
As soon as you brought up rugby, he had to step away.
There's me listening to the soccer for the last hour.
This Crotone and Benevento are absolutely all over their opponents, Chievo and Frosinone.
Benevento came out firing, did they?
Yeah.
It's them I really kind of want, even if that treble doesn't come off, just the validation of backing Benevento at 12-1,
Oh, hold on. Oh, it's just like absolutely just rolled across the front of goal for Benevento. This is one of those ones I kind of half hope that this drifts and drifts and drifts, and at like sort of 58 minutes they'll be back out to like 15-1. I think I'd be going on to them again.
Just get back on them individually, yeah.
Yeah. And that was actually one of those balls that it was could have been a goal. It was, it was a very, very tight angle across the goal, and then a defender was running in. I thought he looked like he was going to try and clear it, but then because it was going wide, he had to leave it. And he was close to just kicking it into his own net.
I'm just going to check the exchange. Sometimes the exchange, when a team's starting to drift like that,
you get a crazy price.
Best place it just drifts quicker and further. They're still, they're only 10-1 on the X now.
That's a full 2 points outside the sports book, so
and bet 365 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
hold on. Yeah. Dinked into the box. Looking at it here, 3-1 Benevento is 45-1, and they could easily have scored 2 goals in the second half already. I think that could be my bet. Obviously, if a Chievo breakaway here will kill that. As I say it now, 3-1 has just come into 35-1. So somebody at the
bet like the way you're talking about reloading in Benevento.
It's worth putting them on. They're absolutely all over Chievo here. I just can't see Chievo holding out.
Okay, that's good.
I was saying it's one of those ones that you nearly half hope they don't score until 50 odd minutes and they've drifted again. And I'd be backing them on their own. They could have scored at least 2 so far. 2 very good chances.
Citadel seem to staying on top of things here as well. They've got a few chances in the early part of the second half. Venezia have had absolutely nothing either. So if it doesn't stay 0-0, you'd definitely be thinking Citadel are going to go on to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Fulham are attacking away here anyway, so they haven't given up. They're not playing for the 1-0 victory, even though they have that away goal. So it's good for the over 1.5s. Although those 0-0s, I'd really like a goal in one of those games.
If there was VAR in the Serie B, there would absolutely be a Benevento penalty here. Just a cynical ankle tap in the box. Don't know how the ref or the linesman didn't see it. Not given, obviously.
They don't use VAR at all. Do they use it in Serie A?
Yeah, they use it in Serie A.
Yeah, they were the first crowd to bring it in, actually.
Yeah, they do actually use it very well, but they're fairly soft. We've talked about this before on the streams, Liam. The penalty decisions and stuff that get given, like handballs and stuff, are really, really soft in Italy.
The handballs in particular, they're very black and white about that. If it touches your hand, they're giving it.
Anything. Yeah. There's no that kind of ball. But in fairness,
this season, the Premier League is kind of caught up in that sense. There's no real grey area anymore in the handballs. But the first season, so this is the 3rd season of it in Italy, and the first season was just mayhem. Managers were threatening to pull their teams out of the division and everything. They had a really bad go. It's the same as the Premier League to start. It's just so the referees aren't able to, they've had 20 years of a career not having to go and consult a screen in front of 60,000 people booing at them and knowing that the whole world is watching. So they don't have the skill, the mental fortitude for it. So none of them were really doing it very well. But I think now it's kind of calmed down a bit in Italy, and I think next season the VAR will be an awful lot improved in England as well, because the refs they'll be a bit more comfortable with it,
Yeah, there's always going to be teething issues.
Yeah, but there were a couple of chairmen were saying we're going to put our team from the division. We're not going to field the team anymore unless you get rid of this. And obviously the history of corruption in that league, people were, it's just another tool to help the big teams win and all that kind of stuff. People went absolutely mad. But there were some terrible, terrible goals.
I just got very excited there because I was looking at the Serie B and then I looked up to my TV and saw Fulham sticking the ball in the back of the net, but it was just a replay of the actual first goal. I was like, that looks kind of similar to their first goal, and they showed it again. I was like, okay, it's just another.
That's a mistake that I've made many a Friday night when we put these Serie B bets on at the pub.
Crotone is suspended, yeah.
Suspended. Come on, Crotone.
No, it's shown. No, it's a yellow card for a tackle. There was no. I have it on here. I couldn't see anything. It's miles out the pitch. So
hate the suspension for just a yellow card. It's the most frustrating thing.
This tackle was, he kicked him basically. It wasn't really a tackle, so maybe there was the hint of a red. Never a red for me, but it was just a clumsy kick. But I think, and it was a Crotone player who had committed the foul as well, by the way. So not much to get excited about. Yeah.
Still wouldn't really want a red card for the opposition,
No.
Like we were saying the other day,
it does nothing for the match.
Do it well, they just start sitting back, play for the draw.
Yeah.
I just noticed that bit of kind of camaraderie that they kind of let's play for the fella that got sent off a bit. They kind of up their energy levels for a while because there's only 10 of them and they're playing for the person sent off.
Yeah, there was a goal there. Oh no, it was a Pescara game, but that's excluded. So unfortunately, just saw it flash up.
I don't think there's been a goal in the Serie B yet.
No.
This half, has there?
No, there hasn't been, no.
It's kind of, you don't usually get through 10 minutes of football in the Serie B without a goal.
No, that's okay. It's building up to a big crescendo. That's all that's happening here.
Hopefully, because the 0-0s are absolutely killing me at the minute.
I think though, if this Crotone game has a goal, it could have 3 or 4. Like hold on.
Suspension.
Where are you seeing suspension?
On Beffra?
Crotone. No, sorry, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there's nothing happening. It's just a substitution. You know what? There was for a split second. It looked like there was going to be a through ball and maybe a break for Frosinone, but it just ended up getting overhit and going out. So maybe that's why our Serie B sportsbook trader friends might have hit suspend. But I don't think there was really anything serious there. Frosinone are coming back into this now though, and are shot block. Okay, Crotone break. It's 3-on-2. 3-on-3. Don't slow it down. Okay, line up for the cross.
Just in the Fulham game, there's 19 minutes left, but they brought up the stats there. And in the second half, Fulham have had 78% possession. So, like, a pure domination.
Yeah, you'd nearly want a bit more like, hopefully that kind of balances out a bit and encourage Cardiff to take some chances. So you don't want them to just resign themselves to the loss.
As we said, actually, Cardiff are on a little bit of an attack here.
It was actually a very, very frustrating move there from Crotone. They had a 3-on-2 and then kind of just slowed down. It became 3-on-3 and then a load of defenders got back and it fizzled out. But I think obviously when you're on the pitch, it's a very different situation. But when you're a spectator, especially a television spectator, and they slow down the play, it just is horrible to watch.
Yeah.
Back to Benevento here, another good chance, but
they're out to 13s now on the exchange.
Are they? Still 8s on the sportsbook. Maybe my odds haven't updated though.
I can see 10s here on Beffra Sportsbook.
Oh yeah, so my sportsbook's obviously just a bit behind. Suspended again in the Frosinone game. Another dodgy tackle by Crotone. They obviously put a few over 50 card points on at half time in the dressing room, and they're making sure to get that up nice and early. They are hacking them down.
This is frustrating now.
Fulham or just generally?
Generally, so Cardiff actually, since I slagged them off about having only 12% or 22% possession, they've come out and started playing a bit. They had a good chance there, but it's frustrating that there's no goals in Serie B after, what are we?
15 minutes.
15 minutes in. So I think that's a record for Serie B.
Some of the games now are a bit closer to just 55 minutes gone, but yeah, it felt like a lifetime in this league without a goal.
Benevento is particularly painful. That they are absolutely things that you kind of wonder, but they're so far ahead in the league. Like, does it take a little bit of urgency out of their play as well? Hopefully they.
But they just look to be like the best team in the league, even at half pace they could win it,
And based on the stats, I mean, it doesn't look like they're sitting back or anything.
No, they are not. They are all over them here.
It's definitely, even now, I don't think 11 to even like 3-1 on the draw isn't a bad price. I wouldn't be going near Chievo at 1-3 based on historical stats, the in-play stats, and then what you've been saying about actually watching the game, Liam. So,
yeah. I think I'd give hope. I mean, we've got enough on both of those games already. At these prices, I'm not going to budge. But like I said at half time, this could drift and drift. And if Benevento keep playing like this, I just cannot see how there's not another goal. And at some point, they'll have 10 men in the Chievo half. So goals might become a temptation later on. If there's any kind of value there. tackles are really starting to go in now in this Crotone-Frosinone game. I wonder, is there a bit of a rivalry there? Because there really shouldn't. This isn't one of those matches that there's nothing in the table that would tell you these guys should be smashing into each other like this, but hopefully it fires them up to score a goal.
That's all we want.
Yeah, just
speaking of tackles, the Cardiff Fulham game was quite feisty as well. Particularly like Cardiff have put in a few heavy tackles there.
Yeah, defending their lead.
So Fulham have a free kick and a decent position here, so fingers crossed it can lead to a goal and get that in. No, it's not going to happen.
There's nothing going on in Serie B. Goals-wise, anyway.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Let's hope that they're saving all the goals for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. To give us a highlight reel. That's all. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Diego nearly scored. There was a big long ball into the box. It bounced up. The keeper went for it. And, sometimes instead of catching it, they kind of just pat it down for themselves. And he hadn't realised there was a Kievo player right in front of him. He just patted it down to him. But he managed to recover just in time. That would have been heartbreaking because that would have been an awful goal to concede.
That's all we need. Although I would have taken it for my 1.5 over.
Crotone have just picked up their third booking of the second half here. It's a bizarre turn of events. They might end up on the Livorno list now if they're not careful.
The Salernitana game is suspended, but I kind of feel it's just going to be a yellow card situation. It doesn't look.
So is Empoli, but I think we don't have anything else riding on that. That's in. It's 4-0 to Empoli. It's a pity I didn't do that as the over 3.5 instead of over 2.5.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I don't see those games suspended anymore.
No, they've gone back now. Oh, actually, hang on. Spezia's
not suspended. That's a bad tackle. Well, there's somebody lying on the ground, but no indication that we're anywhere near the goal. Let's see. Oh, that is a tackle. If he stood on him, if there was VAR, I'd say that could be an upgrade from a yellow. I think at the moment it's probably just going to be a yellow because I don't think the ref saw it.
Is that the Spezia game you're looking at?
Yeah, Spezia.
But Arsenal is still suspended here on Bet365. What's going on there?
Which one is that?
Pordenone, is it?
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, yeah, it's gone back now. No goals. Well, I mean, it's still 1-1 anyway.
Yeah, the ref mustn't have seen that one. It wasn't particularly dangerous, but it was 2-footed off the ball, studs into the foot, so hard to argue that it's not a red.
This treble now, Benevento, Citadella and Crotone, if you got on it now, it's 170 to 1. Like, it still feels pretty achievable.
Yeah. What will happen, obviously, as soon as Benevento score, the price is going to fall right out of that.
Yeah. But that's it. It's one goal away from actually getting interesting. It's just, can we get that goal fairly soon,
Yeah.
Another shot on target from Benevento.
That's a good save. Uh-oh.
Juve Stabia has gone suspended there anyway.
Chievo nearly scored. I would not be surprised if Chievo scored a second one. Their Benevento are just opening up so much, leaving themselves exposed. Which I suppose they can take the risk considering that they've guaranteed automatic promotion.
They're not guaranteed to win in the league yet, no?
I think they are. They're absolutely miles clear. Let me check it. Yeah, there's 2 games left and they're 18 points clear, so they are promoted.
The last game was worth 15 points, so.
Yeah. Like next goal, the winner.
Would you reckon they'll fare back up in Serie A? Would it be the same story? They'll be back down again?
Depends. Like if they're going to make the decision, I think one of you mentioned, apologies, I forget which one of you said that they might be looking to bring in someone like Daniel Sturridge. If they invest, they didn't really do that the last time. They just went up and kind of just took their chances. But there's a lot of teams in the Serie A recently that, if you got to hold on a second here, Benevento, just a misplaced pass there. Yeah, this Benevento Chievo game is just so open. It's actually ludicrous. There's a lot of, you got obviously the huge teams at the top of the Serie A, but there's a lot of teams then down at the bottom half of that table that are just, they're all kind of similar size and quite small. We've like Spa seems to be going up and down a lot now. Frosinone have just come back to the Serie B. You got like Brescia, these types of teams that they can. There's always going to be a couple of them manage to stay up because there's about 6 or 7 of them in the league. If you look at it, this team, you got like Lecce, Brescia, and Spa. They're going to go down. So I think there's room for Benevento to stay up, but they'll need to be a little bit smarter about it than they have been this time.
Empoli have got a goal, so both teams to score is in on that.
Crotone have picked up their 4th yellow card in the second half.
So it's unsuspended again.
Yeah. So they are, they aren't particularly fired up for the second half. Go on, Benevento now. They have a great chance here. Headed it into the keeper's hands. Yeah, this they could be 4-1 up already in the second half. They've had so many opportunities.
Imagine if you had backed them to win 3-1 and they were up 4-1 already.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
Right. I think they're going to start getting desperate, Benevento, even though they've got no reason to be. Chievo to score next. I wonder what that would be. Look, Chievo to win 2-0 is only 7-2. It's an absolutely miserable price.
Don't be giving up on Benevento just yet, no.
It's goals that are starting to take my eye because it's just the openness is ridiculous. Benevento have 2 or 3 good chances in a row and then it goes straight down. Chievo have a great one and then straight back up again. I wouldn't be surprised if Crotone finish this match with 10 men, the way this is lining up here.
That Cardiff Fulham game looks to be settling down a bit, Gary, is it?
There's a couple of substitutions there now. I still wouldn't put it beyond there being another goal, but actually, good chance here for card. Oh, I was given offside. I wouldn't give up on there being another goal, but there's only 7 minutes left, so it's kind of doubtful, if you know what I mean. But it's still open. It's not as if
wait. Benevento are just. Oh, sorry to cut across you.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's not as if it's like kind of gone stale. There's still a good bit of tackling going on from both teams, so I wouldn't put it past there being another goal.
A huge break.
Dream alive. If we get the over 1.5 there.
Yeah, it'd be good to keep it going, although, with these 3-0-0s, we're asking for a lot.
A big last 25 minutes. The Crotone game now is the worry because it's I think it's the furthest along. It's on 69 minutes at the minute. So I'm going to flick back to that one.
Yeah, the draw is going to be 1-2, so.
Get to see a few fouls at least, if nothing else.
You're either going to win or get a red card. But look at it.
I mean, if you'd back the under 50 card points or whatever, and you were sitting there, 1 yellow card in the first half, you'd be laughing. And then there's just 4 straight away in the second half.
So the Empoli game is the only game with goals in the second half, is it? It's had two goals. In the second half.
Nothing else.
That's madness.
That means the next round of Serie B is going to be insane. The amount of goals.
Yeah. Just
double up and everything.
Over 3.5 first half goals in every match.
It's funny that you say that because it has been a bit like that this season, where it go like 1 week it's Golarama, the next week it's pretty quiet, and it kind of seems to not black and white as that, but there has been ups and downs. So it could certainly be a temptation. Next week.
I'm not giving up hope anyway.
I don't think it'll be next week. I think it'll be Friday, right?
I'd say it'll be Friday, yeah.
The payday gambling.
Payday tomorrow. We got League of Ireland then on Friday as well, so be good to get back into that. So Fulham game They're Fulham are still attacking now, so it'd be good if they can get a goal. To the ball on the left-hand side now. It's just going out for a throw.
Crotone they're doing now what they did at the end of the first half, and there was a guy barely inside the Frosinone half, and he just punted this big cross into the box. The keeper had the most comfortable catch he's probably ever made in his career, and it's exactly how they finished the first half, just ludicrous, wild attempts. So I'm losing my confidence there. Benevento have had a stern talking to during their cooling break, so I'm a lot more confident they'll be tearing back into this next 20 minutes.
Yeah, Crotone have gone out to 4-1, so the treble must be about 2,500 to 1 now, is it, or 250 to 1?
Benevento were 19s anyway on the exchange, but yeah, that treble's 290 to 1 now. But wouldn't be feeling quite as confident about getting on it as I was 10 minutes ago.
No.
But still, like Citadella are still chipping away,
yeah.
Although they've conceded a corner here, but this could be the end of it. Suspended with a corner against Citadella.
It hasn't been suspended on my side, so.
No.
I head back to Venezia at the start of the day, so I've kind of got both sides of this one. No, that game is playing away with no suspension.
Really, yeah?
Yeah.
You know what? 6-5 or that they've lost their view of it or something.
Yeah. It could be, some human involvement. Yeah, Benevento are absolutely all over them here now again.
Yeah, I'm losing faith in this Fulham Cardiff game now.
I feel like it's going to be our night.
Colin Crotone, is there?
Suspended
not on my feed.
Red card.
No, yeah, it's an absolute monster tackle.
Is it a red card?
It's going to be, I'd say, injured player. The medics are coming on. It didn't look that bad until there was a second kind of a replay, but it's very zoomed out view. So we get the close up now. Oh, it's no. Just a shoulder brush, and he's pretending that he got it in the face.
Cardiff had a glorious chance there. Well, he probably should have been given offside, and he wasn't. But it was a centre half attempting a finish, and he kind of scuffed at his keeper.
Benevento are out to 18s now on the sportsbook. They're probably well into the 20s on the exchange.
They aren't. They're just 20s. They're just at 20s now on the exchange. Not a huge amount of liquidity on it, though, either.
Yeah. This Frosinone guy now should be getting whatever the Italian version of a BAFTA is, because he's holding his throat like he was karate chopped. When they're walking off the pitch and he's kind of making all the faces like, I'm not sure if it's all still working. But thankfully, no red card. And the referee's gone in for a drop ball, so slim chance.
Oh, really? Yeah, not even free.
No. Yeah, anyway. Hopefully that gives Crotone a little lift. Oh, Benevento.
This is the biggest anticlimax ever.
Yeah, not even getting wet, really.
Come watch the Serie B. There's loads of goals, and then just like no goals.
This could be one of the lowest
3-0 odds
weekends that there's, or not weekends, one of the lowest goal weeks of the Serie B this season.
Yeah, especially like the second half. This must be a record. But there's still only been 2 goals, and both of them come in the Empoli Cosenza game. Like.
Yeah, and other than that game, everything's under 2.5.
There's a fairly cynical foul now in the Fulham game, right on the edge of the box. Tom Carney's down injured. A player just like, it was kind of obstruction, but he shouldered him in the face. So Fulham are going to have a free about 20 yards out in a dangerous position. Fingers crossed they can stick it in the back of the net. I know we'd still be hoping for a lot because we still need 2 goals in the games that are 0-0, but it was like there's a chance. There's only 3 minutes added on, so this is really make or break.
Yeah, my bet's drifting away considerably here. I need 2 goals in Spezia, a goal in the Benevento game, a goal in the Pordenone game, 3 goals in the Cittadella game, 3 goals in the Crotone game, or 2 goals in the Crotone game. So it's looking pretty unlikely now.
Fulham's going here could just be the start of the most miraculous turnaround.
Yeah. Chievo are taking a corner here, and there's 11.
Done it anyway. Goal.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Good free kick.
Nice. So that's at least keeps us alive for another few minutes. Counter attack here for Benevento. So let's see if they can get a bit of speed into this. Oh my no. Absolutely ludicrous pass. I got the free, that's okay. That's a Benevento free. So I'm going to step away here for one moment. I need to actually make sure.
It's a good free, but like, Jesus, your keeper, you'd be questioning. But as you said, it sets us up, gives us 15 minutes more out of this, over 1.5. So we just need a goal fest now.
Just want to be alive with the accumulator at least, like.
That's it, like, a couple of goals and it starts to come back live.
Bit of a sweat. Crotone is suspended again for me. Yeah. Nothing yeah, I mean, it still is. Well, it's hard to really believe in it, but a few goals before the 80-minute mark, and you would kind of be back on track, especially for the over 1.5. As if a few of those matches just.
Exactly, because like now in that there's quite a few legs in, so you're probably only waiting on like 4 or 5 legs, but it's just those 0-0s drag it down so much.
Yeah.
It's mad the amount of suspensions there's been, all for like bookings and things like that. And like,
all fouls, this half anyway. Yeah.
None for actual goals, like. Like Benevento are 28-1 now, but I said if they get a goal, I'd say they'll be into about maybe 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, in any game, if there's one goal, you could see another coming soon after it. But it's just a combination of getting that across, 3 or 4, those 3-0 odds, one of them might end up having 2 goals in the last 10 minutes, maybe even 2 of them, but to get all 3 of them over 1.5 is really strange.
Yeah, exactly, that's it. I think my over 3.5 to 5 or to 5.5 grand is definitely going anyway, because I need one of the, I think it's the Spezia game, I need to be over 3.5, but
another bloody goal in the Empoli game, like the only one with no interest in it.
Oh, Crotone gone suspended there?
Oh!
Yeah, they've gone up 1-0.
Sweet.
I couldn't get it off mute. There was an absolute rocket of a goal. Unbelievable.
Really?
I could just see your face. You're like, your eye, you're like...
I was trying to get to the... Where's my unmute button gone?
Like
Fantastic goal.
That cat went like banging the keyboard.
An absolute rocket of a goal. So 6 yellow cards and so a lane cross into the box, headed clear to the edge of the D, and this is just one of those low into the bottom corner. Keeper wouldn't have seen it until it was nearly in the net. Like
a Benevento goal in the next minute or two will set us up nicely,
That treble, yeah.
Out to 40-1 for the win, but based on the stats, I still think that's big. I know I'm probably flogging.
A Benevento goal here is
so... Crotone scored again?
No, it's still suspended.
Sorry,
it's still... No, it's offside. They're showing highlights of the goal now for some reason. I don't know why. They're not showing it live.
Perugia game has gone suspended.
I don't see any reason why that's suspended. Like they're just taking a throw in.
No, it's not suspended for me anyway.
Okay. Yes, back there now.
Pordione gone suspended.
Here come the goals. This is the Serie B that we barely know but completely love.
Yeah.
It's Benevento that.
You thought it was a 6th goal in that Empoli game, I'll be, did you?
Yeah, that would have been a shame that we didn't get on that.
Yeah, all I want to know is just Benevento over there. Come on with their 19 shots.
It's amazing, like, how you can be so dominant and be 1-0 down. Like,
I actually think that the Citadella Venezia game, now in that one I had over 2.5 in Venezia, so it's as good as dead. Could be the only one. I think I still need a couple of goals, but that's potentially going to be the only one to let down my 1100 to 1.
Really? Jeez.
Yeah. I need a second Crotone goal now for that to be the case as well. So it's not in the bag, or it won't be in the bag at all, but it's not going to be that clear cut. A dangerous Chievo counter attack here. Oh, it's just snuffed out. Alright. But Crotone have not taken their foot off the gas here at all. They're still absolutely gung ho.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah, I might look this up afterwards, do a bit of my summer research for next season. Well, Crotone will be gone, but is there a bit of a rivalry between these two? Because Crotone are putting in, for a game that shouldn't matter to them on the table, in terms of the table, they're putting in such an effort against Frosinone here. I wonder, is there a slight rivalry?
I suppose those teams can just spark up a bit during a match as well, can't they? If there's a few.
But just a 0-0 kind of lame first half, 1 card, no goals, very few corners. It's hard to see what set fire.
Yeah, I suppose, with only 1 first half yellow, there was nothing too fiery going on.
Yeah. The Crotone players are going down now with some strategic cramps, so I'm going to go back to Benevento.
Yeah, I'm starting to lose hope now, lads, to be honest.
Yeah. 10 minutes to score 2 goals. It's a lot to ask.
Time's running out.
The over 1.5 is definitely within touching distance. But 2 0-0, is it? Or 3?
2 0-0 and
3 1-0.
Yeah, so 4 1-0.
4 1-0.
Yeah, so you're looking for, what's that, 6, 8 goals? It's a lot to be looking for in the last 8 kind of minutes.
Because they're spread out, though, it's not too bad. You know, you wouldn't. Yeah, the 0-0s are going to kill it, though.
Yeah.
We'll get another 3 goals in the Empoli game instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
10-1.
10-1.
It's so annoying when you see those games go suspended. You're just like, I don't want you suspended. I want one of the other ones. Like,
yeah, or when your accumulator goes suspended and you get excited and you scroll down and you realise it's just that one again. This guy went down with cramp and now he's been stretchered off. So I wonder what that's about. Benevento now are actually in a great position here.
It hasn't gone suspended, so I'm assuming they haven't.
No, they've just passed it back now. They're just tapping it around the middle of the field. Nice cross into the box. This actually is promising. Headed across goal. No, hopefully goal kick.
Spezia versus Entella just seems to have been the most boring game ever. Like, you know, there's no real action and it hasn't. You see teams just cancel each other out, like.
Yeah.
They're usually good for it, eh? Wasn't Spezia? I feel like they were letting us down before, but I don't really remember. Maybe they came good.
There's only been 4 shots on target in the whole game, like. The Citadella game then as well.
Yes, Citadella's killing me now.
There's only been 4 goals on target on that, or 4 shots on target as well. So
I take 4 goals on target any day.
yeah.
Oh no, Frosinone are about to score, I think, and I just messed it up. Frosinone came very close there. I just missed the Benevento chance at the same time. Not free out to Chievo. These games are starting.
Juve Stabia has been suspended, but I'm not sure why. All I need to watch it. Oh, it's just a foul.
Yeah. To get a bit excited, putting suspended on for some of those fouls where there's absolutely no chance of a goal coming from it.
Yeah, so
I think a Benevento goal is going to be the only thing to get us a sweat at this stage.
Exactly, yeah.
Even if you only have 2 or 3 minutes left and they score, you're still in with a chance. Like,
yeah. Citadel is still
especially in that
right?
game, Chievo could drop the heads if they concede. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's long shots now, though.
Yeah, it is.
There's a little fight breaking out now in the Crotone again. Oh, the ref has nipped it in the bud. A lot of handbags here, kicking the ball away. Frosinone, great cross.
Anything to be said for a little... Oh, damn, I was about to say, I think Spezia are going to go 1-0 up. I was saying anything. I was going to say a few home teams, so like Perugia, Spezia, and Pordenone, and just put them in. But the Spezia game is going.
We had that last Friday. Remember, we picked out about 5 or 6 teams at half time within about 3 minutes before we had to bet on. They'd all scored.
There actually hasn't been a goal there, but there might be something just small stakes. Even like Citadel are 13-2, Spezia are 15-2, Perugia are 18-5. Like, what's that? It's probably going to be 100-1 on the treble. Might be just something to keep us interested for the last 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Spezia is suspended now, is it?
No, it came back from suspension for me.
It's suspended on mine.
Yeah, it's a dangerous free kick, so that could be that there was a yellow card for the foul that led to it, or else this free kick is gone off suspended again.
Cremonese have gone 2-0 up against Juve Stabia. So that's that
they were 15-8. That was a great price on them today. Unfortunately, I combined it with 6 other losing bets, so it doesn't matter. But there was some good value on it. Pordenone is suspended for me here. Any indication?
No, it's not suspended for me. You can see that bet.
Pordenone is suspended.
100-1.
Crotone was suspended with a Frosinone attack, but it's gone back. It's a goal kick to Crotone, so that's staying as is.
Oh, Frosinone. Oh, Chievo were so close to scoring, but great save. This Benevento game, I cannot believe there hasn't been a goal in the second half.
How long is left on that, Liam?
Benevento, it's 87.50. Okay. So, when there hasn't been a huge...
8 minutes injury time in each of these games.
Yeah. Crotone suspended here. Don't see any reason. Maybe... Oh. He didn't get through. No. Not sure why it's gone. Crotone's gone suspended. It says awaiting official result.
For what's that, Eddie?
On the Crotone game.
Just gone over the 90 minutes now.
Yeah, it's not suspended for me, so.
Yeah, it's actually come back from it, but on my accumulator, it actually has the big yellow banner awaiting official result. That's gone now.
Yeah, sometimes on the sportsbook, when they go into injury time, they don't accept any more bets on it. So it could just go to that, awaiting official result because no more betting.
Corner for Benevento here, I think.
It's all on this, so they don't score here. We may shut down.
Oh no, is it a goal kick?
The corner gets taken from the corner and the goal kick is taken from the 18-yard box. So
oh yeah, there it is. He's just... They walked over to the corner, but the ref has changed it to a goal kick for some reason. Well, he must have seen something, but that could be the end of this.
Yeah, frustrating evening now.
Yeah, it's probably been the first Serie B that we've been watching in a while that hasn't been particularly enjoyable.
Yeah, like the second half has been like, uneventful across the board.
Oh, he's given the foul. That was a strange one. There was a Benevento counter-attack. It broke down, and from a pretty dodgy tackle by a Chievo defender, but the ball broke away to Benevento again, and they were in a very dangerous position, but the ref blew it up to bring it back for the free. Neither team was particularly happy by it, and they just wasted the free, gone out for a goal kick. That's frustrating. That's one of those ones that looked like could have just lit things up for us. 5 added minutes here, so unlikely that we're going.
4 in Cittadella.
6 in Crotone, but we're through 2 of those. So, yeah, disappointing now.
When's the next round of Serie B? Surely
Friday.
Oh, sorry, you said that actually. Jesus, definitely getting up goals that night.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be ready for that one. So this is week 37. Yes, that's the final games of the season. That's on this Friday. So all of them are at 8 o'clock.
Surely they'll want to sign off with a bang, look.
There's a few great games there. Unfortunately, Empoli will be taken out of action by Livorno, so we're not going to get anything there. But Frosinone, Pisa, Ascoli, Benevento. So there's a few nice ones there. So something to look forward to. We can invest all our winnings from Glorious Goodwood on Friday night.
Exactly.
Benevento, great cross. Hold on. Oh, he handballed at the fool. Oh, then he kicked it wide anyway. Yeah, very close to Benevento. I just can't believe Benevento haven't scored in this game. They've had so
I was thinking back when it went up 1-0. I was asking you why you only backed over 1.5.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
The ball has bounced across and just outside the post and squeezed, gone through people's legs so many times. It's one of those games. That could be an encouragement for Benevento now next week. So, or on Friday at the end of the week. One last chance here. They're still trying though. I think the draw is going to be a lot more still in play. I think the win is gone.
Yeah, so it's actually annoying that for the League of Ireland they've spread the fixtures out. So I was hoping for like a big day of action on Friday evening, but there's actually only 2 Premier Division games on, and the rest are.
I know in the context of what we're doing now, that's probably not great, but I think in terms of normal fans and
Cittadella have gone 1-0 up.
1-0, yeah.
They're playing ping pong in the Chievo box here. How Benevento haven't scored?
It's going to be frustrating now getting 2 legs up.
That's the 6-1 that you mentioned at half time, Slats.
Yeah, and then I got greedy.
Yeah, you should have just gone with it.
Yeah. Any viewers, take note which of us to listen to.
Well, if you want juice, go for juice. If not,
the Benevento, the tame header into the keeper's hands. It was frustrating there.
There's so many chances, but like,
in fairness, that wasn't really his fault. It was the ball was coming down nearly. It was like a lob up to him, and when there's no real pace on the ball, it's very hard to hit it with any force. So he couldn't really have done much better with it there. But a few minutes before that, they had such a chance. It's a Frosinone corner here now, which will end any hope of our bets. It is keeper's headed it up, and it's gone suspended because Crotone final whistle. Yep. That's finished 1-0, so that leg is in. That's my main bet is gone anyway because I had Crotone in over 1.5. which is unfortunate. But Crotone were kind of big outsiders there today, which is hard to believe having watched the match. But Benevento here is gone suspended. I think it's probably for the end of the game.
It's only 15 seconds left, yeah. You're about to get 2 goals inside there.
No, even all the markets are closing here, so I think they're going to get one last chance to put a draw in and give us maybe we were close by 1 goal, but in reality, no, straight into the keeper's hands.
Trapani scored in the last minute to make it 2-1 against Perugia anyway.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, Chievo have won there as well, so that's that finished.
So that's all the bets over.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate enough now, but
yeah,
we weren't too far away either.
No, not really. A couple of goals here and there.
The reading of the games is good. Like getting the Crotone and Cittadella games in, and that's 6-1 double at half time. If Benevento had scored, like it would have given us a good interest, but
that's a good value in that bet, like.
Yeah, definitely. Even the one that we put up with the wins in there as well. Like, I mean, we had Crotone to win. I think they were outside 2-1. We had Cremonese to win. They were nearly 2-1. There is good value to be found in this league if you're willing to kind of look through it in a bit more detail and don't just jump on the favourites. So I think I'm already looking forward to Friday now to get a few nice combinations up for that and go out on a high with the Serie B.
Yeah. Great, guys. I don't think anything else is going to happen in these games, so we leave it there. And for anybody watching, we will be doing a daily check-in. So we called out the horses there earlier on that we kind of fancy tomorrow. So each way it's Hetea. Mark Johnson's in. I'll get this now and just call them out. So in the first race at Goodwood, Hetea, as I said, it's 20-1. Needs to bounce back from its last run, but it's on a winning mark and has a good claim and jockey aboard. So that's in the first race. In the second race, it's a wide open race, so don't be going too big on this, but we're looking at Yuri Gagarin, which is for William Buick for John Gosden. In the third race, there's a £5 free bet with Paddy Power for new and existing customers. So Thunder of Niagara in there is 22-1 with Paddy Power at the minute. I said there's a hot favourite in there, so might not win, but should give a good running for the place. And obviously, if you're using that free bet, it's nothing really lost to go on the win market. Space Blues in the fourth race should be the banker of the day. And then the last one we would have is another William Buick horse, A Moment of Madness in the 345 again each way. So there's a couple of big prices in there. I think we're looking at 20-1, 22-1, 12-1, 9-4. So big prices. Hopefully we can get a few of them up. Might stick them in a few each way trixies and hope to make a bit of cash. But join us tomorrow to have a rundown of how those horses have gone on.
There's 2 Serie A games tomorrow night as well. We'll give our thoughts on those briefly before they kick off.
Yeah, and then update on whatever tips we have or fancies we have for Wednesday's action at Goodwood and Galway. So see you then, guys.